I'd like to call this meeting to order. First order of business is to go into closed meeting. Be it resolved, the Board of Supervisors hereby enters into closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following. Section 2.2-3711, discussion or consideration of acquisition of real property for public purposes or the disposition of publicly held real property for discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position of the negotiating strategy of the public body. 1, former Blacksburg Middle School property. 2, former Price's Fork Elementary School property. Other items is discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, discipline, or resignation of specific officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. 1, the New River Valley Economic Development Alliance, and 2, Western Virginia Emergency Medical Services Council. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Need a motion to go out of closed meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to go out of closed meeting. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Certification of closed meeting. Whereas the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County has convened a closed meeting on this date to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia, hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
The next 2 items on our agenda, one is our invocation, when we pause to observe a minute to reflect on the business at hand, and after that, the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Mr. Meadows, our County Administrator.
Let us pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Our next item on the agenda is delegations, and we have Michelle Dickerson, 4-H agent, will update the board on the Montgomery County Cooperative Extension activities. Welcome, Michelle.
Good evening, Board. How are y'all doing? It's nice to see you. I'm Kelly Scott, the Agriculture Agent for Virginia Cooperative Extension, Montgomery County. So I'm going to start the report this afternoon, and then Michelle will end it. The way we've decided to do the report this evening is give some photos and then just talk through the photos to give you a summary of what we've been doing. We'd first like to say thank you for your support for over the year. Thank you so much for our office space and our meeting space that you make available to us. It really makes our programming possible and allows us to serve the citizens of Montgomery County. So as I go through this slideshow here, many of you attended our open house that we had back in May, was it? May, and that was great because we had a lot of citizens, community members, folks involved in our programs come here to the Government Center, and we were able to highlight what we do in a cooperative extension. We had a proclamation of the day where May 2014 was noted as National Cooperative Extension Month for the Centennial. We're celebrating our 100th year of cooperative extension. And here you can see Michelle and Mr. Bill Brown with the plaque. We did a lot of catering. There was good networking of old extension agents, retired extension agents, as well as new with the community members. This goes into another program that I've worked a lot with. I work a lot with developing of farmers markets, whether it's helping vendors be the best that they can be at farmers markets and selling their products, or if it's the establishments of farmers markets themselves, like through a town or a special interest. So this was a farmers market training that was done up in Giles County. Also work a lot regionally within this PD. PD4. So in Giles County, I collaborated with the extension agent up there. We had a really great turnout talking about direct marketing and farmers markets. This is a collaboration picture here. You see the three people on the top, I'm in the middle, and then the lady in the front's Kim Kirkbride, and the lady in the back is Miss Meredith Ledley Johnson. And we all work in collaboration with the Wick Community Garden right up the road, about a mile up the road. We've teamed up, we being Virginia Cooperative Extension, with the New River Valley Health District and the WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children, to get fresh fruits and vegetables into those recipients' box that they get every week or within what's offered to them. So we're not only offering produce and quality food to them, but we're also offering them a way to learn about gardening and natural resource education.
And Kelly, that is on county property there beside the health department.
Yes, it is. So thank you guys so much. You can see what we've done with the garden. It was just a grass lot. So the New River Valley Health District was the main funder of that, with the county supplying the land. We've been able to put a nice fence up. If you can see in the corner, that big black thing, that's a big cistern that we use for water. So it's a 1,500-gallon cistern. And we actually got the fire department to help us fill that up. So again, more county support. So that's just been great. And Michelle and I have actually used that garden beyond just the WIC program as a living laboratory for our programs. We had a family gardening series, a 4-part series, where we took the families out and they could also get their hands in the dirt and learn about gardening. This is a community garden tour that I did in association with Master Gardener College, which is held in June each year. About 300 Master Gardeners from across the Commonwealth come to the campus of Virginia Tech and go through some professional development, continual education type training. So this is a tour that I did around the county for that school. I worked a lot with farmers visits. This was a day that I was out at Reiner at Dan Brand's place, and we were doing a pumpkin growers meeting. So we do a lot of the traditional ag as well as the farmers markets and the local food efforts that I'm working on. This workshop that's in this picture here is really closely related to this board and the county. This is a workshop that we had in conjunction with the New River Valley Agriculture and Tourism Consortium. And I see Bree here tonight, just happened to run into her for another thing that she's doing, but she was there as well. So it's a collaboration of cooperative extension, planning, tourism. We're all trying to get together to see how we can showcase the rural character of Montgomery County and sell the New River Valley. Done a lot with livestock, learned how to shear some sheep and cut some sheep's hooves this summer, so that was pretty interesting. Do a lot with Dr. Curran and BQA, Beef Quality Assurance training, to make sure that the beef livestock producers are getting a quality product and doing best practices. And then the final photo on there is of pasture management. I'm a horticulturalist, so livestock is not my number one game, but I can work with those farmers closely because I do know about the grass-based systems that the animals are eating. So it's a good way to collaborate with them and work with them on their production. This is a great photo of Mr. John Vest in action. He's our extension agent down in Floyd County. And this was the Junior Hockey Showcase, which was just held in October, where all regional fourth graders come out to the arena at Virginia Tech, and we teach them about agricultural awareness. They go through 8, 9 different stations, 10 stations this year. So our station was horticulture and parts of a flower, but they learn all about natural resources and composting and a lot of different things, soils. One thing that I'm working on a lot of the development of right now, we're not really into the implementation stage, but we're trying to pull together an Appalachian Virginia Food System Council. Many of you may have heard of the Virginia Food System Council. This would be a regional association council that fed into that statewide effort. And that's mainly looking at local food systems as well as food access across all of Appalachian Virginia. So it would be Roanoke West. And this has come out of a project that I've worked with, the Appalachian Food Shed Project. So again, looking at local food and food access and how can we enhance those networks and programs. As always, all agriculture agents, we do lots of pesticide training, so that's what this slide would be representation of. We do a private pesticide training in the winter and a commercial pesticide training in the summer. So we have options for both of those classes. The New River Valley Master Gardeners, we've just started taking applications for the 2015 training, and we work a lot with the programs that come out of Master Gardeners. One great successful program is Share the Spare, which was created by Lynn Brammer, and it's at the Blacksburg Farmers Market. And the idea is that while you're at the farmers market, you could buy a little extra. Most people that shop at the farmers market have the means to buy a little extra. So you buy an extra pound of this or an extra tomato, and then you donate it to the Share the Spare booth. And then that's distributed to food pantries throughout Montgomery County. So it helps the less fortunate in this area, again, have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and a lot of fresh fruit, dairy and meats, and a lot of things are sold at the farmer's market. So that would be my year in review of 2014 through photos. And thank you all so much for your time this evening. Any questions from you?
Yeah, actually, I had a question about the food waste project, which sounds really great. I'm on the Montgomery Tourism Board, and there was a presentation from a group out of Abingdon whose name is I'm forgetting, which was also doing a similar Appalachian Foodways program. Are you affiliated with that one as well, or working with them in some way?
We are through the Appalachian Virginia Food System Council. We are working with Appalachian Sustainable Development.
Okay.
There's a lot of Appalachians in there, but ASD, they do a lot of things in far southwest Virginia.
Sure.
They're based in Abingdon, but they are an aggregator. They have a food hub. They do education, community gardens. So we are working with them as a community partner.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you all, and I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Good evening to everybody. And I'm talking about the 4-H youth programs that we've been working with over the past several months. And as Kelly mentioned earlier, we did a family gardening series, and From our situation analysis that we did with our citizens of Montgomery County, family-oriented programming was a big issue that came out of that situation analysis. And so one of the programs we tried to implement this year was our family gardening series. So it was a 4-part session, and the first part of the sessions was planning for your garden site and planting your garden, starting seeds, things of that nature. The second part of the series was maintenance and dealing with pests and water issues, things of that nature. Then we did food preservation and canning, and this is a picture from the preservation evening. And then we ended the series with preparing healthy, nutritious dishes. So we had a cooking seminar. So we had a good time with the series and a nice interdisciplinary program for all of our program areas. Then after-school programs is a big thing we do in 4-H, and this is an example of one of those. This is our Bellevue Be Green Garden Club. So they're doing a beautification project in their courtyard. And so we had a nice little group working on getting some plants in place there to, and wildlife gardening as well was the focus there. But we have after-school programs regularly at Auburn Elementary School, at most of the Blacksburg elementary schools through our Wild About Nature environmental education program, at Bellevue Elementary. So we're only limited by volunteers. We get into as many schools as we possibly can. Then summer programs, we try to offer a lot of camps and day camps. This is an example of, it was our Make It With Plants summer day camp at Hahn Horticulture Garden. So what the kids are doing right now is they were making boats out of natural items that they could float on the pond. And we could have done that all week and they would have been very happy. They had quite a good time with this project, so, and quite a lot of ingenuity here. Then our Junior Master Gardener program has been a really successful program. The kids do 88 different gardening activities and 8 service projects. It models the Master Gardener program, and then they become certified Junior Master Gardeners. And as you can see, this is our Halloween night, so the kids were all dressed up in their costumes, and they had their nice pumpkin out of carrots and raisins and cucumbers, so a nice healthy pumpkin as opposed to all the candy. But we just graduated this class, and so good group of kids, and we've done, I think this is our 5th class that we've done in collaboration with Hahn Horticulture Garden. And then Junior 4-H camp, so we took about 175 children from all over the county to 4-H camp this summer. And as you can see, there are a lot of kids there. So had a very nice week. Lots of fun activities at camp every year, lots of different classes. And we spent a good part of the year preparing for that, so another successful year. One of my favorite things that I do is in preparation for Junior 4-H camp is working with our teen leaders in the area, and this was part of their teen training, team building activities to prepare them for camp and working with the kids. And so we have a really nice group of teenagers that go as teen counselors to camp. It's a wonderful leadership opportunity for those teens. And then again, we have ongoing livestock programs throughout the summer. We have 2 pictures here, one from the Lamb and Goat Symposium that we have every June, and then the Roanoke Area Livestock Show in May. So a couple of our 4-H'ers showing their livestock here. We have a very active and successful livestock club, really good leaders. And our wildlife team placed first again this year in the Wildlife Habitat Education Program competition. We have a lot of kids that do lots of state level and some national level competitions, everything from livestock to state horse show to wildlife to shooting sports. We have a lot of kids competitive at the state level, and Montgomery County children do really, really well in state competitions. So that, and then we just hosted our annual Achievement Night program, and this is one of our clubs, and the kids are recognized for project work, community service, progression to All-Stars, which is the highest honor that we give in 4-H as a senior 4-H member, for a combination of leadership and project work and community service, a comprehensive list of things that the kids have to accomplish to reach all-star status. So here's one of our clubs, the Country Kids Clubs, and some of the awards and trophies that they received this evening at Christiansburg Middle School. And that's a little synopsis of some of the things we've done in 4-H, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the program.
Questions? I can say one thing, Michelle. It seems like, you guys are having a lot of fun. I mean, a whole lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And,
it's a fun job.
yeah, you might be able to take the board on a retreat or something like that, so we can have some
I was thinking that boat day looked like fun. I think
Have the perfect 4-H center, and if I take a group to the 4-H center, we get a camp scholarship discounts for using our 4-H center. So I'll throw that out there.
But we really thank you for the update and appreciate all the work that you all doing, and you too, Kelly. And thank you for coming.
And I will mention real quickly, Dawn couldn't be here tonight, but she has helped with many of these programs, including Family Gardening Series and Junior Hockey Showcase, and works with families on financial planning. So she's been very active as well. And we hope she can join us next time to give a report as well.
Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Good.
Next item on our agenda is a public hearing. The following public hearing was advertised pursuant to law in the New River Valley section of the Roanoke Times on November 12th and November 24th. Special use permit for James and Sherry Carter.
Good evening. As you stated, we have received a special use permit to allow a family subdivision of property with one additional lot assignment over the amount allowed under the sliding scale. So the property is zoned agriculture A1, and the applicants are requesting to divide an acre of their 2.253 acres to give to their daughter. It is in the Reiner Magisterial District, and it's located in the Bellevue Village, designated as medium density residential. This is the site map. You can see the star designates approximately where the lot is located. This is Route 114. Over here is Fairlawn, Pulaski County. And then this is Christiansburg, of course. This is the aerial photo of the property. It's outlined in yellow. You cannot see, but there's an access road up here. It's a private lane, and you can see it better on the next photo. This area is where the proposed lot would be. This is the zoning map, zoned agriculture A1, surrounded by agriculture A1 zoning. This is Bradford Lane, which is a private road that connects to Route 114. This is our comprehensive plan map with the Bellevue Village overlay. Here is the parcel in medium density residential. You can see a lot of the surrounding property is mixed use. This is a picture of the property. This is standing in the rear corner looking back. This is Mr. and Mrs. Carter's house. And this is approximately the area that the lot would be. And then this photo is standing looking down at the lot, which is in this area. There is a PSA line and meter down in this area that they will be connecting to for sewer. Here is the conceptual drawing prepared by New River Land Surveying. This is not the actual survey. They will have to go through the formal survey plat submittal and review if this is approved. But this is a conceptual so you could see how it would look. This is Bradford Lane, which is a private 30-foot right-of-way. There is an existing 20-foot right-of-way that comes off to connect to this parcel back here. And the proposal is to have a new parcel here. The 20-foot right-of-way would be extended solely on the Carter's property, so it would not impact the neighboring property. As stated, they will utilize the existing private road known as Bradford Lane. VDOT has requested that we will have that marked private on the survey plat, which would be required anyway. They will be served by PSA for sewer. There is a private well currently on the property. They are going to work with the Virginia Department of Health to see if they can connect to that existing well. If not, they will drill a new well if required. This all started because they come into our office to obtain a permit or see what the process would be, because they believed that they actually had 2 pieces of property. In 2004, they acquired 0.8 acres from a family member and did not realize that when the survey plat was prepared, the lot line was vacated to make it 1. So the ordinance does allow for them to get a special use permit request to allow them to go over that sliding scale lot assignments in cases of a family subdivision. It should be noted that if this is approved, the new parcel would meet the minimum lot requirements, whereas previously it would not have, because it would have been less than an acre in size. The comprehensive plan also does support residential development in this area. Their parcel was too small to request a rezoning in order to get a denser development. The Planning Commission reviewed this request on the 12th of November. They did recommend approval with 2 conditions: that the lot shall be transferred to a qualifying family member of James and Sherry Carter. The Carters have already submitted their family subdivision affidavits, which we require for the plat, certifying that this is to be transferred to their daughter. And they also noted that a note should be placed on the plat regarding the private access easement, and that the identification of Bradford Lane as a private road shall be included. That's all I have for you this evening. I'm available to answer questions. Mr. and Ms. Carter are also here to answer any questions you may have.
We had a simultaneous meeting. Was there anyone who spoke out against this at the Planning Commission?
We did not have anyone that spoke opposed to the request. We did have one gentleman that spoke, but he had concerns regarding the availability of public water and the possibility of charging a connection fee for the sewer service, since the neighboring trailer park does not pay connection fees. But the Planning Commission did advise him to take that up with the PSA.
I remember we talked a little bit about that.
Yes.
Questions? Any?
Just got one.
Okay.
On this, it says, assign this property to family members. Now, does that mean later down the road they could sell it to any individual?
Yes, they could. A family subdivision cannot be done to circumvent the ordinance.
Right.
But we do understand that there may be circumstances where their daughter 2 years, 10 years from now may be offered $1 million job in California. We're not going to keep her from selling and moving.
Well, that's the only thing. That's the only thing bothering me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll see.
It is a public hearing, so.
Yeah. Okay, it is a public hearing, and if anyone would like to address the board regarding this public hearing, they can do so at this time. You have 5 minutes, and come to the podium, state your name and address. Seeing no one coming forward, so we'll close the public hearing. But since the Carters are here, do anybody have any questions for them?
Chairman, and I guess I would just ask, since there was no opposition at the Planning Commission meeting, was anyone having any problems in adding this to the agenda tonight?
Do it under the addendum.
Do it
yeah.
under the addendum?
Yeah.
So that way we can go ahead and vote on it tonight.
Very good.
That's the only thing I have.
Okay. Okay, the next item on our agenda is public addresses. And we have 3 people signed up. Sue Farrell. And you have 5 minutes, and state your name and address.
I'm Sue Farrar. I'm Executive Director of the Montgomery Museum and Lewis Miller Regional Arts Center, and this is the most fun thing I do in my job. My yearly coming here to thank you, and that's what this is about. You all are so supportive of our museum, and we're just very much appreciative of what you do and how you support us. I'd like to bring you up to date just a little on some things going on in the museum. Just need for you to know that absolutely there is life after the roof. We are existing and we're not thinking about it anymore. The museum looks really nice. Once again, we had a wonderful Heritage Day, even with the absence of our wonderful Lewis Miller. We had participation from the 4-H, and they come every year and help us a lot, and it was a good year. We doubled the money we made over last year, and everybody had fun. Coming up on June 13th is going to be a day called Mountains of Music Homecoming, and it's sponsored by the Crooked Road and the Department of Tourism here. We will be, I will have an all-day event. This is a celebration for the whole of Southwest Virginia to enjoy and celebrate their cultural music heritage. We will have some music, hope some jamming, and going on pretty much all day with local food and wine and beer tasting and artisans who will be selling things. So it'll be very local and very culturally appropriate. Inside the museum, there are things going on. Our collection of 4,500 plus artifacts has been programmed and cataloged and stored properly. This has taken about 4 years, as it was not done too well before. We have a real gem in the museum, Sherry Wyatt, and she is bright and so knowledgeable and cares for the museum and has put this place in very good shape. In 2014, 20 people, different individuals, gave over 200 objects for our collection. And just recently we received 1,000 items from Marvy Stein, who closed her business. So we've got some really neat old maps and good photos and so forth. We haven't gone through it, but that's very exciting. Our photo collection of over 20,000 plus photos is available for viewing and purchase, and people are using it almost every day. Our exhibits change often. Currently we have an exhibit of historic Montgomery County quilts, lace and lace making, and coal mining. So we're very diverse in what we show in the museum. Our art exhibits change every 2 months, with 2 of those months going to student exhibits. And we are going to be involved at this point in off-site galleries. We're sponsoring 4 at this point around town. If you're interested to find out, you might just pop into your dentist or a clothing store and find our exhibits all around. And hopefully that will bring a little revenue. Our exhibits are programmed out to 2017, so we've got artists wanting to come to the museum, which is a nice problem to have. We've engaged the community by involving 6 interns from Virginia Tech and Radford, and 5 student volunteers during the past year. Using our youth is wonderful because they're very high-tech and we aren't, so it's a wonderful addition to us. We also work with the master gardeners who create this beautiful garden on our grounds, the Blacksburg Rotary and the Christiansburg Kiwanis. We're very fortunate to have over 100 volunteers working for the museum every year, and our attendance this past year was over 1,200, not including Heritage Day, and that's just who signed our book. And that's up 300 plus from last year, so we're very pleased. Just want you all to know that we are working hard. Our staff of 2 part-time people and the amazing volunteers that we have working very hard to keep your county's museum a viable entity and making it good for the heritage that we have here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you. Scott Noonkeister.
Good evening.
Yeah.
I'm here for my father, Jim Noonkeister. He was on this board. He was the chairman of Board of Supervisors back in the 60s and 70s. And due to his hard work, he got the Prices Forks Road extended over to Route 114. It took him a lot of years to do it, a lot of hard work. And I would like to have this board consider possibly renaming that section of Prices Fork Road, not renaming it, but like memory of, or James B. Newcastle Connector or something like that. I've seen other streets in the county that have those sorts of designations. I mean, he's got letters to and from the governor, the War Department, Department of the Army, and you know, just a lot of hard work. And I'd like you all to consider that, if you would.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Marvel Robbins.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Mara Robbins, and I live on 959 Thunderstruck Road in Floyd County. And I have a handout here that I would like to give to all of you.
Give me all of my passing.
Okay.
Save me the trip.
So first off, I really wanted to thank you all for being as open as you are to citizen participation. I've been to meetings up and down Virginia, and this one has been the most generous with time, with attention, and I've really noticed that, and I just want to thank you for that, because I truly believe that government needs to be more participatory, and you guys genuinely encourage participation, and that's not always been the case at every board that I've been to, so thank you very much for that. And I also want to thank you for passing the resolution that you passed at your last meeting opposing the Mountain Valley Pipeline. I especially was glad that you mentioned the karst topography, the seismic activity, the fault lines, and particularly the water and the impact that it would have on the water. I am concerned about the portion where it indicates that if the Mountain Valley Pipeline were to reroute the proposed line away from the residential communities to areas that are unpopulated, not containing residents, that you might reconsider opposing the construction. Now, I was not here for this meeting, and I understand there was a lot of dialogue around this, I'm sure. And you guys have heard a lot about this, and I'm sure getting kind of tired of talking about it at this point. What I just handed out to you has to do with a concept that is called a community bill of rights. And the reason that I brought it to share with you tonight is because there's been a lot of talk about how you don't really have a whole lot of power in this. The companies have the power, state government, federal government, the Natural Gas Act, you name it. Citizens and local government, we're getting told over and over and over again that we don't really have the potential to make much of an impact. And I don't believe that that's true. There's an article on the top that talks about 2 different townships that have passed ordinances or are looking at passing ordinances opposing the line. And the second page has some information about an organization called the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund. Floyd County is currently exploring some possibilities to look at in constructing a community bill of rights that could proactively stand in the way of this kind of project, potentially implicating our environment or the property rights of our citizens. And I really urge you to encourage you to consider that part of it. Because a lot of this feels as if it's about the rights of the people, and that is what is being trampled on by the corporations, by the laws of eminent domain. And I really feel like there are a lot of creative ways that we can approach this as a community and not just Montgomery County, but the entire region. And that if we're willing to explore these ideas together, the legal ones and others, that we have a better chance of making a difference. And I truly believe, heartfelt, that we have to. This is already a county that is utilizing sustainable energy more so than other areas. We know that it's possible. We really just need to step forward and ask for it to happen, demand for it to happen. Morgan Freeman narrated a short video when there was an address to the United Nations on climate change. And it's called What is Possible? Not this is what we don't want, but this is what is possible. And one of the things that really stuck with me from this short video was that we need our leaders to be brave, and we need their choices to be bold. And I think that applies to each and every leader in every community, all the way up to the federal government. And so that is what I'm asking for from you, is to look at this and to really listen to the concerns of your citizens, because what they've been saying is stop the pipelines, not move them. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the board in our public address session? Well, we'll close the public address session of our meeting. The next item is addendum, and we do have...
I guess first I need to make a motion add this to the as a part of the addendum, and so I would so move to add the special use permit by the Carter family.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
And at that time, we'll take it up under new business, right?
Right, take it up under new business.
Okay. Consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
We were ready for you.
I know.
Aye.
6 ayes.
So we're moving to old business. Subject A, Appalachian Power Company request for a public utility easement.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Next item, new business. Subject A, carry forward, I guess FY14 year-end carryover.
Mr. Chairman, would it be all right if we took up the cart, since they're here waiting on us to see what we're going to do? Would it be all right if we took that up first?
It's up to this board here. Thumbs up. We'll take out, we'll take the addendum first, the special use permit for James and Sherry Carter, I believe, yeah.
I make a motion to approve the issuance of a special use permit to allow a one-family subdivision on the property owned by James and Sherry Carter at 3595 Peppers Ferry Road, subject to the following two conditions. One, that the proposed lot shall be transferred to a qualifying family member of the Carters. Two, a note regarding the private, and I guess it's the easement and identification of Bradford as being a private road be included in the final subdivision plat.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second. No further discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to congratulate Supervisor Tuck for being able to read the county attorney's handwriting, because that was pretty flawless.
Well, it's a matter of professional courtesy. Apparently, they send us all to the bad handwriting law school.
We usually have to have a committee to figure out what
That's
he's
just
writing.
like the doctors when they write prescriptions, you can't understand what they're...
It deteriorated by the third sentence.
Oh, okay.
Just had to say that, I'm sorry.
Okay. Subject A, county FY14 year-end carry forward funds.
Mr. Chair, this is the amount. We have polled the various department heads, and based on the information that they submitted, which, by the way, they did a wonderful job submitting the items, one-time items that they needed. The total is $325,009, and there's also $39,114 related to Parks and Recreation. But I'm sorry, that is in the 320. I'm sorry. I'm playing finance director. I'll
Well, you
quit.
just-
The total's 325,009.
You just said that to make sure Carol was listening,
Yeah,
right?
she was.
Motion.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion of any of the items? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Subject B, state budget cuts method of reimbursement for FY 2015.
Do you want to say anything on this? This is deja vu. As you're aware, the state had been requiring us to reimburse a portion of the funds that they provide us each year. They actually eliminated that last year, but with the state budget in the situation it is again, they have reinstituted a $30 million reduction in state aid to local governments in fiscal year 15, but we have to tell them how we want to give it to them. So
Yeah, this is, basically, they give us 3 methods, none of which are good methods, but they're a choice, and what we have proposed is what we have proposed in the past, is that we take the revenue reduction. The second resolution that's behind this one identifies where those reductions are based on what the state has given to us. And we're shoring up the balance of those out of undesignated fund balance. The total of those reductions to the departments and to state revenue and to the revenue we receive from the state is $98,944. There are 3 items that we're not providing additional funds. We're taking the revenue reduction to. One of those items is the detention home, which we do not, in fact, take that all from county funds. That comes through the detention home, and the Detention Home Commission will be identifying the reduction in revenue and where those sources will come from. That's $19,060. The Comprehensive Services Act for about $31,000. Currently, we're below the mandated amount to be spent. We don't expect to need to request any additional funds for mandated services. Those are some sufficient, which the state has to provide, so the reduction would apply to non-mandated. So we're not shoring up or providing any additional revenue. We're just taking the reduction in the state revenue, not believing that we'll need to spend the full allocation. The last thing is the state recordation tax, which is a reduction of $10,000. Those monies are always earmarked for the school operating fund. And currently, the school's estimate is less than the actual amount they would receive with the cut, so there's not going to be any need to shore that up. So at this point, we're taking the revenue reduction, providing the undesignated fund balance to cover those that are necessary to keep the departments from having to take an expenditure cut. I'll be happy to answer any other questions if I can.
Questions?
Okay.
Need a motion.
I'll make a motion with the statement that, it just really makes me mad that we have to do this again because somebody doesn't have their act together other places. And you can blame it on the economy and everything else, but I think there comes a time that the state's going to have to really look at how they fund their own budget. That's just my own opinion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Would the clerk clerk please call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Subject C, state budget cuts for 2015.
And this is related to the second part of what Carol
Right.
was discussing earlier, so.
Need them.
Well, we can put it out there again.
Want a motion?
Yeah, I'll make another sad motion.
Do we have a sad second?
Second.
Okay. We have
Can we print this out and bring it on December 8th to our legislative meeting? And
I particularly noticed public safety cuts.
$55,000 from the sheriff's office.
But remember, the state supports public safety.
Yes, they do.
we did have a sad second, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
sad
Can we have a sad vote now?
Yeah.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
It was sad.
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I already did you.
Yeah.
I don't get you vote twice.
Chair Brown?
Or if I'm going to get 2 votes, it's not on this one. I'm going to save it. Double vote
I'm
later.
trying to make it sad.
6 ayes.
Okay. Subject D, Third Amendment to the Real Estate Purchase and Sales Agreement, former Prices Fork Elementary School property.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Have a motion?
Can maybe the county administrator just qualify,
Sure.
just explain the extension?
Sure, and this is not a sad thing, this is a positive thing. We're continuing to work with Taylor Holla Construction, which is the prospective purchaser for the old Prices Fork Elementary School, related to some of the road improvements that need to be made there as part of the project. We've identified what those improvements need to be. We're discussing with them funding for that right now, and this is just to allow all the numbers to be settled so we can get everything in good order to close, so Taylor Holla can close on the property by the end of January. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Need the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Next item is the county attorney's report.
No report, Mr. Chair.
County administrator's report.
Mr. Chair, just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and let you know that the county is prepared for whatever may fall from the sky on Wednesday. If it's rain, we don't have to do much. If it's snow, we've already got the plows on the trucks, believe it or not, so we're ready. That's all I
Yeah,
have.
that's what the governor said in Buffalo. They were ready.
If we get what they had in Buffalo, we are not ready. But hopefully we won't have much to deal with.
Board members' reports. Supervisor Tuck.
One, want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. 2, I went to the Motor Mile, the talent show. One of the numbers that they put out there is that they gave back to the local schools over $800,000. Not just that night, and that was a tremendous. Young lady from Blacksburg won with a wonderful Broadway production. Christiansburg men's group came in second. There was a young lady from Radford who was just absolutely fantastic. She was third. Which is a great time, and I think it's going to be rebroadcast in January, so if you get a chance to catch it then. Just amazing, the talent. There's a young man from Charlottesville, 14 years old, sang All of Me by John Legend, and if y'all have heard that falsetto voice that goes in and out, he was amazing, and just sad that there was only 5 places that they could give, but there was so much talent out there, so it was a good time.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yeah, I just am looking forward, in a not looking forward sort of way, to the legislative dinner on the 8th of December. I was curious, do we have confirmed attendees yet?
I think everybody except
Habib, whatever his name.
Habib. Yeah, everybody has confirmed, both senators and Delegate Yost, Delegate Rush, but Delegate Habib is not going to be here.
Okay. Says he said he's not coming, or he just hasn't responded?
He's going to be out of town on vacation.
He'll be out of town on vacation. Okay. Well, maybe we'll send him some documentation to remind him of what we'd like to hear from him. Thank you. That's all.
Supervisor King.
I don't have no report, but I'd like to say, announce about the Auburn High School volleyball team won 3 state championships.
That's
the third in a row.
We pass a resolution.
3
Yeah.
So no, and Todd, you're new to the board, but usually when a team wins a state championship, if I remember right, we pass a resolution. So is that a motion for a resolution recognizing Auburn's volleyball team?
Yes, sir.
I'd second that.
So could we clarify what just happened for Vicky's sake?
Yeah. We'll be developing a resolution to recognize the Auburn volleyball team for their 3rd state title.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. We need to take a little vote on this.
Okay. Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Gabriel?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chairman Brown?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay. Is that it?
And one more thing, I'd like to thank the sheriff for his deputies escorting them out to the high school that night. Appreciate that. That's all.
Supervisor Creed.
I have no.
Okay. Supervisor Biggs.
Yeah, I want to thank the sheriff's deputies too, because they made sure that you got in your car and shut the door and you weren't out in the parking lot still talking. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, I guess it's up to me. Ditto on that. Wish everyone to have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'd like to say to the sheriff, special thanks to Deputy Harry Spence, who qualified us old guys on Saturday. The former sheriff was there, Deputy John Yon, the guy that's recently retired that handled the county ordinances, Billy Saunders, yeah, and who else? Was another one there too. And but it's kind of chilly, but we got it done. And we thank you for the services that you provided, you in cooperation with Chief Wilson, for the security at our pipeline. Our November 5th meeting, it was very well coordinated. We had probably around 1,000 people there. Nobody got out of control or anything, and Mary got a personal escort to her car. I mean, I just couldn't believe that. You know?
To make sure I wasn't in the parking lot talking.
Yeah.
I think the more important thing is the pipeline folks got a personal escort out to their car.
That was good. So I don't have anything. I do have a little. If you hadn't heard, when December 1, we're not going to have a PSA meeting because the agenda is so low. So you can take that Monday off and be ready for December 8th when our legislators come. One other thing too, in reading the resolution that we sent to FERC, Secretary of FERC or whoever it is that I thought we were going to send a copy of that resolution to our U.S. representatives like Griffin and
Warner and Kane.
Warner and Kane, our U.S. senators. Did we say that?
If we didn't, we will.
Okay. So I think I thought that's what, just send it to them, make sure they got a copy of
absolutely.
it too. And appreciate you guys and ladies, and have a great Thanksgiving. Don't call me, I'll call you. And we are adjourned.